Hey guys, welcome to the 251. I'm your host, Nigel Ashford, and this is the place where you can be heard. Joining us is our student panelists from your surrounding areas. Hey guys, welcome back to the 251. Now, last week we talked about the entertainment industry and how it affects today's generation. Now, this week we're continuing the same discussion because it was so good. It lasted for a whole hour. Stay tuned to the 251. When we come back, we're going to talk about the topic of entertainment. How does it affect our younger generation? Has it changed over the years, or has it even gone too far?
Hey, this job looks perfect. It says you need people skills?
Check.
Driver's license?
Check.
And a high school diploma. You've got one of those, right?
Skip the drama. Get your diploma.
I got that.
You are good to go.
Take that first step towards a better future. Find free adult education classes at finishyourdiploma.org.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
And I think that's why we always see like shows where the managers or the agents are like, no, you can't do this. Oh, you can't do this. Oh, they're watching you. You can't do this. What did you say? Oh, now I got to fix this. Like, it's stressful because you got to always watch what you say, watch what you do, because everybody's watching you. And then you learn that from when you're younger. Everybody's looking at you, even from teachers, even from students and younger generation, especially if you have little siblings. Hey, what is my big brother or big sister doing? I want to be just like them.
My cousin, he works for the St. Louis Rams, and they can't wear certain things. They can't like certain products or certain like clothing or how they come out into the conference room and everything. They have to look a certain image because that's how everybody else is going to look upon them. So like when they give back, they can't just like give back a certain way. They can't just like, oh, here's a basketball, let me sign on it, or here's a football, let me just give it to all these little kids. They actually have to bring some type of impact and show that they're giving an impact so that other people will actually contribute as well. Because if they see someone big contributing, like LeBron James with NBA Cares, if he's contributing, then everybody else are contribute. Or when, with the Eric Gore case, when they wore the I Can't Breathe shirts, everybody else was like more aware of the situation because they saw that these celebrities were wearing them and the celebrities cared, so let me care and let me find out a little more about this.
Or when the celebrities or football players wear pink on the field for breast cancer awareness. Or when they did the magazine issue when everybody put on their hoods, or like different things like that. But what about the negatives? One of my pet peeves is the sagging of the pants.
Yes.
Like when people do that and not knowing where, and I do think they know where it comes from and how bad it looks, but they continue to do it. What do you guys think?
It's definitely an unattractive sight. I mean, it's not fun when you're walking down the street and then you have someone with their pants down to their ankles and you have a good view of their butt cheeks. It's not a pretty sight.
And it's cold. You know they're freezing.
But they wear like 3 pairs of shorts. Doesn't make any sense.
But yeah, like I said before, it's a social status. I mean, the people you hang around, that's what you're gonna look like. You want to hang out. You don't want to be the person that's not fitting in. You don't want to be the weird person. You don't want to be different. So you're gonna do what everybody else is doing, so you can fit in and you can be just like them.
But I think at some point in time you have to ask yourself, like, if you're in this group and they're doing stuff that you don't want to be a part of, or that you know because morals have been instilled in you that it's wrong, you have to ask yourself, is it really worth fitting in and doing all these bad things but then you have to ask yourself, for what? Just because you want to be cool or be with the popular kids, is it really worth, doing drugs or alcohol or something that you are totally against and completely changing yourself? Because once you change one thing, it starts to seem smaller and smaller and smaller to just make a whole bunch of different changes that'll impact your life.
I totally agree.
Well, really, like high school, there's all types of different cliques and groups. So, really, if you have a lot of friends, you can hang out with certain groups and do certain things. Like, if I want to hang out with one group and they like to drink at parties, I can hang out with them at school, but I'm not about to go to a party and get drunk with them. Like, that's wrong. So, obviously, certain situations where you can hang out with those people, or you can contribute or do something with those people, but you have to know when to get in those situations, when to get out of those situations.
And I totally agree. And it's funny that you say that. When we come back, we're going to talk about reality TV stars, groups, how they are influencing our generation these days. Real Housewives, and all that kind of stuff. We're going to talk about it all. But first,
now this is the time where I am going to toss it to Kimberly. Kimberly is now in the hallways, and she's going to ask some of the students with how they feel about entertainment. Hey, Kimberly.
Hey, Nigel. So celebrities like Miley Cyrus, Justin Bieber, and Lady Gaga have all been in the news for having influences on today's generation. We talked to some students to see if these influences are more positive or negative and what they had to say about the types of influences that should be influencing our generation. So, as you know, today a lot of celebrities are having a lot of influence on today's generation. Do you think that the influences they are having has been positive or negative?
I think mostly that they've been negative because people have tried to emulate the more scandalous things that they do rather than try to look at them in a positive way. And I think that a lot of, especially in women, like gender stereotypes, I think that people think now that women have to be a lot more skinny and look a certain way rather than trying to empower them for looking a different way. And I think that the media and celebrities have had a lot of influence in that because they see people who are who don't look as normal, and so they think, oh, well, that's normal, I should do that too.
Yeah. And do you think these trends that they're having, such as the clothes that they're wearing, they seem to be getting skimpier and skimpier? Do you think that that's going to be a trend that your generation's going to follow?
Maybe, like right now it seems like it is, but I think maybe it'll go out of style. All trends, they waver, and sometimes it's in and sometimes it's out, so I think it'll probably go out eventually.
Yeah, how do you feel about the trends? Is it something that you're going to follow, or are you going to kind of go the opposite direction with that?
I normally go in the opposite direction. I'm not really a trend follower.
Awesome. Thank you, Megan. So what kind of celebrity specifically, whether an actor, actress, athlete, do you think has the most influence on today's generation? And is it positive or negative, and why?
Well, I think for like the generation as a whole, it's probably mostly like actors and people in the music industry, which is sort of can be a problem because then you're like, oh, well, this person is just got a lucky streak, and so then they got this album or this TV deal or in with this sports industry. So like then you don't work as hard. You're like, well, let me just fix this one talent, not all your academics. But for me personally, we don't like have cable in my house, so like I'm not really watching much TV. So really all I get is YouTubers, and then like also with my family, like my great grandmother, I call her like every night, and so then she's always telling me, oh, well, you need to go, I know you're gonna get all your homework done. So I'm like, well, I could never disappoint her. So like it's people I look up to, aren't really as many celebrities. So
Yeah, do you think for your generation as a whole that there's one particular celebrity that people tend to kind of gravitate towards?
honestly, I feel like it's the Kardashians mostly, because like you see them on all these magazine covers and it's like, well, what can they do? You know, is it really reality TV or is this, you know, all fake? So
Yeah, and do you think that them gravitating towards that is a good thing or a bad thing?
I think it's probably a negative thing because, you know, they're not like, oh, look, I'm, you know, getting an education, I'm doing this, getting a job, working. It's more like, oh, look, you know, I'm not.
Yeah, look at my outfit.
Yeah.
Awesome. Is there anyone that you particularly look up to that has a positive influence on your life that you try to set as an example for yourself?
Definitely like my mom and her mom and her mom. And then also just like whenever I'm, like my dad's my preacher, so I'm pretty in tune with that too. So I'm like trying to be like, well, what would God think about this? Or like, you know, Jesus didn't have any sins, so like it's hard to compare with that, you know.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you, Lily.
Thank you.
Well, you heard it from them. Megan and Lily both feel that these influences have been negative and that we should not follow their standards. We would like to thank all of the students who gave their opinions, and we'll be right back.
It's here, the MCPSS mobile app. It's a way for you to stay connected and informed with all of the happenings around the school district. Receive weather alerts, check your child's grades and homework, plus more. Watch sports, original programming, find school locations, and read the latest news. Stay connected with all your favorite social networking sites. Download it today for free.
Okay, welcome back to the 251, and thank you, Kimberly. These guys are cracking me up. We've been doing the commercial break laughing and talking about reality TV stars. Some hate them, some watch them all the time. So, tell me some of the shows that you actually watch.
Well, I don't watch them all the time, but I love like Toddlers and Tiaras and like Cheer Perfection.
Well, you have to count on you.
Dance Moms, like those are definitely my favorite. I love them.
Oh God.
My favorite are definitely Courtney and Chloe Take the Hamptons, Keeping Up with the Kardashians, and Bring It. Sometimes I like to watch Dance Moms, but I just like anything where there's lots of arguing and conflict.
Oh gosh.
Why?
It's so exciting.
She's a violent person. I mean,
I don't know. They're so realistic. Like they argue with their sisters, they're arguing with their teammates. It's just so realistic.
They really make me angry. Like, I can't watch them because they get just so frustrating. Like, why are you arguing about these simple things?
Small
like,
things.
Little things like.
Man,
like, oh my goodness, we use the same hairdresser. Let's argue about it. Or just really dumb stuff.
Or
like
over relationships.
Yeah.
Like,
get over it.
They're almost so ridiculous that I think they're fake. Like they're given handed a script and like, here, argue about this because it's so retarded and it's going to make people laugh.
You think.
No, I know. You're right. Let me change that. I know.
Okay. How do you think they influence like a lot of kids today with all the fighting and the hair pulling and calling each other the B word and all that kind of stuff?
Well, I think, like, let's take like Toddlers and Tiaras for example.
Of course.
You have these little girls that are made into these dolls with fake hair and fake eyelashes and fake teeth and makeup and these, you know.
Wait, fake teeth?
Yeah, like flippers that make their teeth look bigger, like these dresses that are like $2,000, like all of this stuff, and they're like 5 and 6 year olds. Like, what do they have to look forward to whenever they get older?
Nice teeth.
Yeah, nice teeth. There you go. But and then I just think that maybe that's just a little too young to start putting makeup and hair and all that on a child, because she can't tell you no. And most of the time when you're watching the show, they're having a hard time even listening to like directions of like where to stand. So obviously they're too young to even comprehend that yet. So why dress them up like little baby dolls and stick them up on a stage?
What did they win?
They win big crowns. That's about it.
Right.
Titles.
Money sometimes.
Money sometimes. Yes.
Sometimes. I'm putting $3,000 into something.
You're not gonna give me anything back.
But also, I mean, these reality TV shows, I mean, you watch it and you watch it and you watch it and you watch it over again. I mean, it can influence you. It definitely, you can say, I think that's what I should be doing because I've seen it so many times. Well, you're not thinking that, but you get in the habit of doing it because you've seen it so much, and that's what, when the argument comes along, instead of being the person that says, you're right, I was wrong, and you say, no, I want to argue it, because the instinct of watching that reality TV show, that's what happened. I mean, it's...
I think sometimes they can be a good influence, but just sometimes, because, like, okay, for example, on Bring It, they will argue about, they'll be practicing, first of all, until like 10 o'clock at night, and they'll be arguing, they'll be grumpy and tired, and then they'll go up to their competition, and they might even get in like an extreme argument with the other parents from the other dance team. But at the end of the day, they still work hard, they work together, and even when they lose, they just come back harder the next week, and most of the time, if they've lost, they win the next week.
So it's teaching perseverance.
Yes.
And it's teaching other people
Teamwork
to work
also.
hard. Now, what about the ones like the Real Housewives? Like
Jersey Shore.
Jersey my biggest problem with like Real Housewives and Jersey Shore and everything like that is the language that they use on the show. It's like you can't even finish the sentences because you've got so many like beeps going in and out. And if you keep hearing that over and over again, you might start modeling like, oh, well, maybe that word's okay to say, or maybe bringing somebody down and talking down on them's okay to do to make yourself feel better when it's not at all.
I think those shows are like the biggest trash on TV ever. Like,
I agree.
How are you getting famous off of
Being crazy.
doing all these crazy, stupid things? Like, if I get money, if they're getting money for cussing and all this stuff, maybe I should get money for cussing.
I mean, you might as well mute the TV and just watch what's going on. You don't even have to listen because the whole thing is bleeped through.
Yes, and it just, they're doing all these stupid, dumb things and living these crazy lifestyles, cheating on people, getting in fights. Like,
I think it's okay.
Yes, they're setting examples and being role models of this terrible lifestyle and they're making money off of it.
And
like,
when you see that, kids are like, oh, well, that's on TV, so that's got to be cool. Like
that's what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah, that's what I'm supposed to do because it's cool. Look, like Snooki's doing it and J-Wild's doing it, and they're all fighting, and it's just complete trash. So maybe that's what growing up is, because you're not watching something that's like positive and.
Right, and they learn, and like Maxine said, they learn learn perseverance. Well, I mean, if that's what it takes to go big, and saying cuss words is what's going to make them money, well, they're going to start saying cuss words because they'll think they'll start making money. And I mean, it's just it's an influential kind of thing, and I'm just not. I've never seen those shows, but still, I mean, it's still. I don't.
I was laughing because a friend of mine, she was like, have you ever seen the Bad Girls Club? I was like, no. And then she was like, well, have you ever seen the Bad Girls Club interview? And I was like, no. And it was women interviewing, said, oh, I think I should be on the Bad Girls Club because I'm the baddest. And I can do this, and I can do this, and nobody's going to approach me, nobody. And I'm like, I bet you just got a high school diploma now.
Yeah.
Even if
you got that.
And I was like, I go to the best clubs, I get the guys to buy me these drinks, and I was like, that's a resume builder for you? Like,
and they're getting paid so much money to do this. Like, you have teachers that are out here teaching, like educating students who aren't even getting paid as much as a reality TV star that gets in a fight or arrested.
And they get lucky
And
that
they
they
get-
get tenure.
Yeah.
Right. And sometimes do people like like Jersey Shore, do they know that they put an influence on the community and the people that watch? I mean, if
And their cultures.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, why?
They probably do, but they just don't care.
Well, I mean, they
Because
should.
they see the money.
Then they
Yeah,
should
all they
care.
have is money. All they have is money. They sit on their pile of money, and it's just like, I don't care what happens to the world.
Right.
They also like
That's the sad part.
the reality TV shows also like ruin the images of certain cultures. Like, for example, like Love and Hip Hop. Like, a lot of people think that's how like all black people are,
Or musicians.
or musicians are.
Yeah.
Like, educated musicians or educated African Americans, they're appalled by these shows because they're just showing such a bad image of their race or their culture, their
Right,
lifestyle.
right.
Like, if I'm a good musician, and for example, my uncle's a musician, he travels all around the world, and he would never act like that. Like, he has a good family, great life, he's making money, but he's not wasting it on all this stuff and getting in fights. Or like my father, he's a great educated African American, he hates those shows because they just make everybody think of everybody's thug, everybody gets in a fight, everybody talks like that, and it's really, really offensive to me and to a lot of people.
Or with Jersey Shore, like with Italians.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody pump their fists. Everybody wears the big hair. Everybody does this. Everybody tans until they're orange. Like, that's not what it's all about.
I think the bad thing is because the shows are like so unrealistic. They show like people constantly partying every single night, getting drunk, doing drugs, and then living this glamorous lifestyle that the people who try to do these things, like in real life, certain people at our schools or in our communities, they might be partying every night and doing drugs and drinking alcohol, but their lives are that they're failing out of school, they're not being able to stay awake at work, they're getting fired and not being able to provide for their families, so it has such a negative impact on the real life community.
What I think is really messed up is the fact that a lot of people are calling it a career.
Yeah.
This is my career. I have to stay on Instagram and post these crazy images of me half nude. I have to go to this place. I have to make appearances and get paid for it. Like, this is my career, and that's an excuse. And I just want to know, when did being crazy and X-rated become a career?
When the media exploded, basically. When it just became the biggest thing to be popular.
When the media took, one little thing that might have happened and said, oh, let's make a TV show out of all these people partying and drinking and smoking and everything, let's make that cool, so that now everybody will go out and they'll start buying more liquor, buying more cigarettes, start partying more. But like Maxine said, when does that ever stop? When you've completely failed out of high school or can't hold a job or can't afford to do it anymore because reality TV isn't real. It's a realistic way to show how these people make a career, but it's not a career.
Or making those X-rated tapes
Right.
and send them off and say, oh, this is what happened.
Yeah.
And then their excuse is, oh, Kim Kardashian did it.
Yeah.
And I can get famous like this and marry me a Kanye West.
It's like a big bunch of lies.
Pretty much. And it's just crazy. So if you guys could create a reality TV show, like, what things would you put in and what type of people?
I would put just real life people. I mean, I would put a GoPro camera on my head and say, look, this is my life. I work every day with school and football, and I mean, life's hard. It's not easy. You're not just somebody's not gonna hand you a silver platter and open it and say, here's your life, sweetheart. You don't have to work for anything, because that's what life is about. It's not about the destination, but it's about the journey. That's what makes you the person you are today.
Well, I don't know about reality TVs like the drama kind, but I know my favorite type. My favorite type is the reality TV shows that deal with like survivor mode and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Naked and Afraid is probably one of my favorite shows because they literally take two people who don't know anything about each other, but they have some type of survival experience, and they put them
to come together to reach a common goal.
Yeah, and that's like one of the TV shows that I would make. Now I wouldn't do it because I can't, go and sleep outside, with leeches or anything, stuff like that. Like one episode, these people getting towed up by mosquitoes, and they were doing it for cash prizes, because I couldn't do anything like that for no reason at all. But if I were to make a TV show, I would have something like that because that's interesting to me.
Like, I think good reality TV would be anything that's inspirational. One with like good morals, good beliefs, just anything that will keep you on the path of success and good knowledge, basically.
Right, because if you watch a reality TV show and you see somebody else who is in the same position as you, you can make a connection and say, look, if he did it, I can do it too. So,
I think that if I were to make a reality TV show, I would just show like all the good things. I'd show like the bad things as well, like the fights. Or like at schools, I'd like show the fights, but I'd also show like people being educated, people disrupting class. So like you can not only see like what needs to be changed, but what you can get out of it as well. So not just giving everybody this image, oh, let me just watch school fights and all this, but let me see what happens to them after they get in the fight, the repercussions that happen, and let me also see like how it impacts other students or how the other students impact those who got in the fight.
Yeah, really use that to set an example to other children who are growing up. They're not just seeing, oh, someone fought and it's over, and nothing else happened. So like someone fought, they got suspended or expelled, and then they went to jail because fighting is considered violence, and you'll be put in like a youth center.
See, one of the reality TV shows that my family and I like watched together right when it first came out was Duck Dynasty, and how it showed how they started off really just like a little kind of business, just making good duck calls, but their hard work, their dedication, and their faith brought them to this empire that now everybody wants to be a part of it, and nobody minds buying their products or watching their show because they see good things and they see
being themselves,
and being yourself, not having to be fake or they discipline their children. They keep their faith in their family, and I think that it definitely brings a good morals and a good show that you can watch with your family without thinking, oh, what are they going to do next? Is it going to be inappropriate?
My parents are going to look at me like a fool watching that show.
And it's funny too.
Yeah, it is very funny.
I definitely think that True Life is one of the most realistic reality shows that I've watched, because not only are they going to like tell you exactly how it is, the people are going to like follow them all throughout the day through every struggle they have. And sometimes the people are trying to change, and sometimes you just have to watch them struggle because that's how real life is. So I think people can watch that and they can see examples of themselves. Like they have different episodes like, oh, I struggle with anxiety, I struggle with my weight. It's really realistic so people can connect to it and know that they're not the only people going through those problems.
Okay guys, thank you so much for joining me today. We have talked about so many things, from celebrities, reality TV stars, fads, people inspiring other people to do their best, and people who are making a bad image of themselves. So thank you so much for being here. We were good. No,
I'm too short. I can't reach.
Too short. You're there. Air bump. All right. Thank you guys for joining us on this week's 251. Join us next week, and we'll see you soon.